Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those massive and gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! And big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, plus independents from coast to coast, everybody watching on TV, everybody streaming on Pick Your Favorite Streaming Platform. We are here in Vegas in the entertainment capital of the world, and guess what, folks? Not so far away, over in San Jose, there's an issue. How about this? How about the San Jose State transgender controversy? 7 women volleyball players reportedly enter the transfer portal after a turbulent season. Wow. And frankly, I got to tell you, I'd be right there with them. And just in my opinion, this is crazy. I mean, look, several teams refused to play the Spartans this season, including Boise State during the Mountain West Conference tournament because of this ongoing issue. Now, again, 7 members of the San Jose State women's volleyball team are entering that transfer portal following a season that saw one player out of a transgender teammate. Yes. Again, San Jose State, their women's volleyball team, 7 members are entering the transfer portal following a season that saw one player out a transgender teammate, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, the names are Tia, Lawton, Martin, Barshakini, Fopla, Epps, and Wynn are reportedly the players leaving the Spartans program as they seek a fresh restart. Now, Brooke Slusser, who advocated for the disqualification of a volleyball teammate who allegedly was born male, but now identifies as a transgender female, is out of eligibility and is the transgender player. Now, the Spartans went 14-7 in the past season and finished second in the Mountain West Conference. They did not advance to the NCAA tournament after losing to Colorado State in the conference tournament champion match. 7 of their wins came via forfeit after Boise State 3 times, Wyoming 2 times, Nevada and Utah State all refused to play. And I have to say, I will applaud that. Boise State withdrew from the conference tournament in November in order to avoid playing San Jose State, saying in a statement, quote, "The players should not have to forego this opportunity while waiting for a more thoughtful and better system that serves all athletes," close quote. Now, San Jose State has said that all of its women volleyball players are eligible to participate under the NCAA and Mountain West Conference rules. NCAA allows transgender women's athletes to compete if they meet the eligibility criteria set by their sport's individual governing body. For women volleyball, that means transgender women athletes must submit documentation of their testosterone levels for at least the previous year to prove they do not exceed, quote, the normal female reference range for their age group, close quote. What the hell does that mean? That's ridiculous. Thanks, Northern California. It is what it is. In November, Boise State sisters Kirsten and Caitlin Van Kirk and a handful of other current Mountain West players filed a lawsuit against the league seeking emergency injunctive relief. In fact, the lawsuit sought to ban the San Jose State player believed to be transgender to strip the Spartans of 6 league wins obtained by forfeit and prevent the team from participating in the Mountain West tournament. A U.S. District Judge, Cato Cruz, rejected the player's request, arguing that the late timing placed a heavy lift on the Mountain West and that the, quote, plaintiffs could have sought injunctive relief much earlier, close quote. That ruling was upheld by an appeals court. What are we talking about here? This is stupid. It's complete lunacy when you think about this. Look, it's a known fact that men in their genetic makeup are 40% stronger than women. How is it that we are going to let men, or whatever, compete against women? That is complete lunacy, in my opinion. And worse, when we think about how these alleged teams are formed, you say, well, you know what, maybe we're weak in this position. Let's go get a basketball player or something like that, and let's bring some big bodies in here so we can't get pushed around. That's just stupid. In my opinion, I don't understand it. I don't have to understand it. You, the listener, probably are scratching your head too, like, what the hell's going on here? Why are men competing in women's sports? Or somebody who identifies as a woman. I don't know. I don't even know how that whole thing works. But what I can tell you is it seems remarkably unfair on so many different levels. That whole thing deserves a big chorus of boos. That's right. In other news, NCAA women's volleyball, how Louisville, Penn State advanced to the national championship. How about this one? In front of a NCAA record 21,726 fans at the Yum Center in Louisville. The Louisville Cardinals and the Penn State Nittany Lions won the chance to face each other in the NCAA women's volleyball championship. How do you like that? Almost 22,000 people came out to see that. Now, Louisville won the first semifinals of the night playing on their home court, and the Cardinals outlasted the Pittsburgh Panthers, their ACC rivals, 3-1. But not to be outdone in the drama department, Penn State managed a reverse sweep of Nebraska, winning 3 straight sets after losing the first 2. Boy, that's showing a little sign of resiliency, isn't it? So the Louisville-Penn State matchup means that the 2 female head coaches will face each other in a title game for the first time, guaranteeing that a woman will lead her team to the NCAA title for the first time in NCAA women's volleyball history. Hey, that's a great story right there. You know, we don't really talk a lot of volleyball, but I have to say that's exciting. I mean, look, how Louisville edged Pittsburgh, first of all, to advance is another thing. It's all about what the NBA doesn't do, by the way, and that's play defense, defense, defense. Louisville outblocked Pittsburgh 12-4 and used that blocking ability to kill the Panthers' rally before they could even start. In fact, that defense was particularly key in the third set, and Pitt had 4 different set opportunities. That would be set point opportunities, but it couldn't convert and win the set. Louisville stayed calm and just kept playing its game to win. I always say, stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. That's it. And even the Louisville coach said, quote, honestly, whenever we play Pitt, we know we're going to have to block them to win. I didn't realize we got outblocked the first 2 times. That's probably why we didn't win. It's like we have to block some balls. Kara Chris came in the starting game 4, and she said, I promise I'm going to get 2 blocks in this set. And she did. And I thought that was kind of blew open for the 4th set, close quote. So, when you look at this, folks, you say, hey, This is volleyball. This is good stuff. Maybe we might even have a sound bite. Let's see if we can pull this one up here real quick.
And
the crowd goes wild.
Hometown heroes will play for history on Sunday.
And that was the final block that put Louisville over the top to beat Pitt. Now, the Cardinals' depth shined, of course, after a tough injury, though. Louisville had to show off its depth early in the fourth. Anna DeBeer rolled her ankle badly when coming down from a block, and the moment DeBeer laid down on the court, the crowd at the Yum Center went silent. And DeBeer, of course, is the heart of the team. If you don't know, now you do. Her ability to get kills and find her opponent's weak spots has propelled Louisville to the upper echelon of volleyball. And as a Louisville native, it's kind of cool. She was a nice hometown story. She came back for her fifth year in large part because she would get to play for a title in her hometown. And of course, the sight of her laying on her stomach, head down, on her hands, what a mess. It was scary for all the players on the team and, of course, all the Cardinals fans too. But think about it. Resilience is what brought this team to a big win. So now you've got Penn State and you've got Louisville. So this is going to be one hell of a matchup. I don't know who's going to win, but that's one of those ones, you go get popcorn. Folks, if you haven't watched indoor volleyball, it is a lot of fun. It's very, very fast-paced. And you know what, folks? Check that out. While we're on break, we're going to be back here on the Sports Circus. Going to shift into baseball in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call
714-948-0100, 714-948-0100, again, 714-948-0100.
or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. That's csncoyotes.com, again, for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. And welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome into all of our friends on independents up and down the West Coast, all the way through the Mountain States, over into Auburn, Alabama. That would be WAUD 1230 on the AM dial, home of the Atlanta Braves. Big hello to our friends also over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, plus all of our other television affiliates as well in select markets on Comcast. Let's see if we can say that again. That would be Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Spectrum, Time Warner, and WOW Cable TV affiliates, plus Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. Big hello to our friends also on our streaming platforms as well. All right, into baseball. Now, this one has been kind of festering for some years now. How about this? The Cubs actually publicly are reuniting with Sammy Sosa at a fan convention after he released an apology statement. Oh, boy, good old Sammy Sosa. Anyway, legendary Cubs slugger Sammy Sosa is being welcomed back by his former team following a long period of estrangement. Sosa did hit 545 some questionable home runs for the Cubs, which stands as the club record, and of course, released an apology letter just yesterday regarding his alleged past use of performance-enhancing drugs. Hey, how about that? So he actually admits it. In fact, the letter, I guess, had a series of quotes in it. I'm going to give you those right now. He says, "I left it all on the field for the Cubs and Cub fans because I wanted to win and make happy fans. I love to see the fans at Wrigley Field in the right field bleachers every home game. I understand why some players in my era don't always get the recognition that our stats deserve. There were times I did whatever I could to recover from injuries in an effort to keep my strength up to perform over 162 games. I never broke any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. We accomplished great things as a team, and I worked extremely hard in the batting cage to become a great hitter. Cub fans are the best in the world, and I hope the fans, the Cubs, and I can all come together again and move forward. We can't change the past, but the future is bright. In my heart, I have always been a Cub, and I can't wait to see the Cub fans again," close quote. That's all Sammy Sosa. Now, in response to that apology letter, team owner Tom Ricketts released a statement that is thanking Sammy for his apology and inviting him to the Cubs 2025 convention, which takes place real soon. Now, they say, or he says in that letter, quote, "We appreciate Sammy's releasing a statement and reaching out. No one player harder or wanted to win more. Nobody's perfect, but we never doubted his passion for the game and the Cubs. It's an understatement to say that Sammy is a fan favorite, and we plan on inviting him to the 2025 Cubs convention. And while it is short notice, we hope that he can attend. We are all ready to move forward together. You know what? I'll give him a round of applause. I'm going to give him a round of applause because at least Sammy was forthcoming and he said something. Now, of course, he was suspected of using those performance-enhancing drugs during his heyday, the early 1990s through the early 2000s, though his name was not among the numerous MLB PED users in a list. In the infamous Mitchell Report, about the 2007, there was a book called The Game of Shadows, detailed Sosa's alleged PED use and involvement in the Balco scandal. Now, if you don't know what that is, you better look it up. Now, despite being the only player in the history of Major League Baseball to hit at least 60 home runs in 3 separate seasons, Sosa spent 10 years on the Baseball Hall of Fame ballot before dropping off in 2023 and has been estranged from the Cubs since 2004 when he left. So his apology letter finally spurred the Cubs to open the door to their former superstar. Ricketts had insisted in the past that Sosa wouldn't be invited back for any team events unless he publicly apologized for his alleged PED use. Other players connected to the PEDs, such as Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, and Andy Pettitte, have been enthusiastically welcomed by their former teams. How do you like that? Following similar apologies. Now the Cubs are ready to welcome back Sammy back into the fold, and recognize his accomplishments that brought fans so much joy. Look at it this way, folks. When you think about these performance-enhancing drugs, in the first place, hitters have a definite advantage. I could see hitters, they should not be allowed in that whole Hall of Fame discussion. Now, pitchers are a different situation, and I'm going to tell you why. As a former pitcher, I can tell you, when you're taking performance-enhancing drugs, there is no velocity change in a pitcher's ability. You don't have that. It's not as if they're going to throw the ball 120 miles an hour. No. In fact, for pitchers, all it does is not only does it do a lot of damage to the arm, so when a pitcher is having some health issues, for example, they'll say, well, here, take this cortisone shot. I've already had this one. You take this cortisone shot, and all the cortisone shot does is it masks your injury. It tricks your brain into thinking that you're not injured, or it stays numb. So you really can't tell. So when you're, for example, if you're throwing harder and harder and harder, well, what ends up happening ultimately is you end up injuring that initial injury a lot worse. You make that a lot worse. And so it doesn't help a pitcher throw the ball harder. It doesn't give you a tighter spin so the ball's breaking more. All it does is it keeps you on the field. So when people complain about guys like Roger Clemens had one hell of an arm, and the guy was great. You could say whatever you want about him. Well, he took performance-enhancing drugs, whatever. Yeah, it was probably to stay on the field. Probably simply to stay on the field, because it certainly wasn't to increase his velocity or spin rate and all this other crap. It had nothing to do with anything. So the bigger problem lies with people's perspective on how performance-enhancing drugs maybe would affect a pitcher versus hitters. Hitters, obviously, we know the fact that they're just stronger, they're bigger, stronger, and, well, let's face it, they're swinging the bat harder and the ball's getting out of the yard a hell of a lot faster. But you take a guy like Barry Bonds. Yeah, Barry Bonds was accused of taking this drug or that drug, whatever, hitting home runs. But the one thing that you could say about Barry Bonds is it did not increase his ability to see the ball and to draw all those walks. Barry had a great eye. Look, and here's another thing. Barry Bonds was a 5-tool player before this whole performance-enhancing drug thing even happened. The guy could hit for average. He could hit for power. He was a base stealer. He had a great arm, and he had a great glove. Those are the 5 tools. And you take the balance of these guys, you say, well, hey, Sammy Sosa took performance-enhancing drugs. He was alleged to anyway. Well, Sammy broke in with the White Sox organization back in 1990. And he was a master at the strikeout, in my opinion. The guy struck out all the time. He's always swung and swung hard. And when he did connect, he sure connected, and that ball really left the yard quickly. However, when I watch a guy like Sammy turn it around, what Sammy did was he became a better hitter. Over time, the game basically slowed down for him. When people say the game slows down, that means that the game becomes a little bit easier. You have a better understanding of the game. And when you have a better understanding of the game, for example, seeing the ball, Sammy was able to see the ball a little bit better from his first couple of years or so with the White Sox. And so they traded him across town, and he learned how to become a better hitter over there. Now, of course, taking the performance-enhancing drugs made him hit the ball a hell of a lot further. But he still was able to hit home runs. He just wasn't making enough contact on the south side until he went to the north side saying, you know what, I'm going to learn how to become a professional hitter. And that is really what made the difference in this guy's career. So you hear me rip on the Cubs all the time. And, I think they did a good job with some of the free agent moves. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But when you think about what they've been able to do with some of their players, I think that they've really made some big strides. And sometimes some of the other coaching doesn't get a lot of the recognition. I think that, in my opinion, Larry Rothschild's wrecked the arms of Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. I think that was the downfall of two great pitchers that were on one team, and they had huge, huge upsides. But it was Kerry Wood that lasted a little bit longer. He ended up as a closer, and Mark Pryor ended up with a very short career. And I think that was the pitching coach's issue. But end of day, Sammy Sosa, he deserves to be part of the Cubs organization, and the fans do love him. And you know what? Hopefully my rookie Sammy Sosa baseball cards will be worth a little something extra. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Angeles.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you go to thesportscircus.com and check out our upcoming guests, our prior guests, or recorded shows, which can be found on all platforms such as Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, etc. Also, make sure you check out the store at thesportscircus.com. That is one of the tabs across the very top. You'll see lots of great items up there, such as hats, hoodies, T-shirts, sweatpants, coats, and pillows, and mouse pads, and travel mugs, etc. All kinds of great gifts, all made in the United States of America. Lots of great items there from the Sports Circus, a shameless plug for this particular show. All right. Welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. Sticking with baseball. You know, the Houston Astros, they dealt off Kyle Tucker, and I just don't understand why they weren't willing to shell out a little bit of money for Kyle Tucker. I mean, look, the guy, let's face it, he is a bona fide five-tool player, one of the best players. I think he's a top five player in baseball. A lot of people would argue with me about it, but this guy is very difficult to pitch against. Guy's got a cannon for an arm, a great glove, hits for power. He's fast, he steals bases, he does it all. So the Astros, they deal him off, and so to try to replace the bat, the Astros picked up free agent first baseman Christian Walker on a reported 3-year, $60 million deal. Now, Walker is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this guy spent the past 8 seasons with Arizona, was ranked number 10 on Yahoo Sports list of top 50 free agents, and frankly, he was probably deserving of it too. I mean, look, he's 33, but the guy can play. Sort of a late bloomer in baseball, as he really didn't become a consistent starter until about 2019 when he was about 28. I think that's kind of when the game slowed down for him. But Walker did win a Gold Glove in each of the past 3 seasons, sealing his reputation as one of the best first basemen in the league. Now remember, the Houston Astros, they picked up Jose Abreu from the White Sox a couple of seasons ago, and Abreu, when he went to Houston, he just laid an egg. In fact, I don't even know if he's still in baseball right now. In the same way that Tim Anderson, when he was moved from the Chicago White Sox over to Miami, for example, he went down there and he just laid an egg. I don't know what it is. These guys were in a good system. The White Sox were a contender a couple of years ago. They get rid of some pieces and the team completely falls apart, and the players fall apart when they leave the team. So Jose Abreu was supposed to be their first baseman. And luckily for the Houston Astros, they've got a big bomber over in Yordan Alvarez that could play the position. But guess what? He's better suited, actually, as a designated hitter. Yordan Alvarez, if you don't have a rookie baseball card of this guy, you better go get one. This guy hits not only titanic shots, but he also can hit for average, too. He's got a really good eye. So first base now being occupied by Christian Walker, and let's face it, it's only a 3-year deal, which means in a lot of cases, these 3-year deals, it's usually a player option or a team option after year 1 or year 2 anyway. So it's a short-term plug, if you will, in the dam, because Houston right now, they've got some big issues. Look, they've made some moves, but I don't necessarily believe the moves that they're making are predicated on anything except money, because let's face it, the whole Christian Walker thing was probably because they didn't want to sign, being the Astros, didn't want to sign Kyle Tucker to a $300 to $400 million contract, which is absolutely, in my opinion, what was coming. I mean, look at it this way. The move also comes for picking up Walker after Houston is trying to switch things up for the next season and is likely to get rid of Alex Bregman. He's not going to come back. In fact, it's been reported that the Yankees also had interest in Walker and now will likely shift their focus to Paul Goldschmidt or Carlos Santana. I think Goldie's going to be the guy, not Santana. Santana's, I think, 40, 41 years of age where Goldie's a little bit younger. And Goldie, he hits for better average anyway. So the Astros did trade all-star right fielder, as I mentioned, Kyle Tucker to the Cubs last week in a deal, and Houston received an infield of pretty good third baseman right now in Isaac Paredes. So Isaac is going to likely replace where Alex Bregman was, and the guy can hit home runs too. I think he's hit about 30 home runs last year. They also got Hayden Wesneski, a pitcher, and a prospect in Cam Smith. So actually Houston did pretty good in the grand scheme of things. You know, we think about these free agents and whatnot. All right, so let's kind of run down some of these right here. And as I look at it, we say, you know, Nolan Arenado actually rejected a trade to the Astros. How do you like that? And that's something you wouldn't really hear very often. But Nolan is one of the biggest names on the trade market, though not necessarily the most valuable. And of course, now we know why. Because he won't be going to the Astros. In fact, the Cardinals' third baseman informed his club that he will not waive his no-trade clause to go to Houston, according to MLB.com. And the Cardinals were reportedly willing to send $15 to $20 million on top of it to the Astros to help cover the $64 million in salary that would have to take on. And of course, the Rockies are on the hook for $10 million of the $74 million remaining on Arenado's deal. These contracts are very complicated, folks. They're very complicated, but it seems like once a guy signs, it's like everybody has to share in the debt. But a player invoking his no-trade clause doesn't always mean a trade is dead. Often, the move is a ploy to shake some extra dollars out of his new team, but the Astros are reportedly not hopeful about the change. In fact, the team also already is likely starting third baseman, as I mentioned, Isaac Paredes, who they got from the Cubs in that Kyle Tucker deal. But now later, the Astros, they did a little pivot with a reported 3-year, $60 million deal, of course, to pick up Christian Walker, which I mentioned earlier. So look, the Yankees even, let's shift over to them. They're executing a plan B, of course, after Juan Soto leaving. And I think actually the Yankees did very, very well. Their loudest move, of course, was picking up Max Fried. And I believe he was the best pitcher on the board. So their rotation now looks like Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Lewis Hill, Clark Schmidt, and Carlos Rodon. That's a pretty damn good rotation right there. I don't really know what 5 teams that are better than that. I would believe that Seattle has a very good pitching staff. The Phillies have a very good pitching staff. I would think the Royals are getting better with their pitching staff too. And of course, the Dodgers probably leading the way with their pitching staff. Now, also, keep in mind the Yankees, they had to replace Clay Holmes in the bullpen after losing him to the Mets, and did so by acquiring Devin Williams from the Brewers in exchange for Nestor Cortez and infielder Caleb Durbin. Now, as for the specific Soto replacement, they traded for Cody Bellinger, a former MVP who has struggled with injuries and swing issues over the past few years, but Bellinger is undeniably talented and was one of the best players on the Cubs last year, but he represents a risk, though might be preferable to accepting mediocrity. So how do they replace that stick? Well, let's face it, and we've talked about this several times. Juan Soto is a pretty good hitter, but outside of that, he's not a good outfielder. He doesn't have a great arm. He doesn't really steal too many bases. He's basically up there for his good eye, and he'll get on base. And he was a 280, about a 290 hitter last year, thereabouts. He had 41 homers, and that's because Aaron Judge was hitting behind him, so Aaron was protecting him. And also, he only had 7 stolen bases. So replacing those numbers are not the hardest thing to do in the world. Now, beyond Williams and Bellinger, there has been no shortage of major trades in the offseason, and the most recent being, of course, the Kyle Tucker deal in exchange for Paredes, like I said, and the pitcher and so forth. But remember, before that, there was the Red Sox acquiring Garrett Crochet from the White Sox for a boatload of minor league talent, headlined by Kyle Teal and Braden Montgomery, and the Toronto Blue Jays brought a second baseman in, and I think this was one of the quietest great moves of the offseason, Andres Jimenez, and pitcher Nick Sandlin from the Cleveland Guardians. That's a great deal. Now, still sitting out there is Roki Sasaki, and the Japanese righty has been available for quite a while now. And as the winter meetings got underway, according to MLB Network, well, Sasaki's posted opening a 45-day window, which began December 10th and runs through 5 p.m. Eastern Time, January 23rd. Every team is now allowed to attempt to sway him, just kind of like when Ohtani came over, the same thing. So now it's Sasaki's turn. So there's a lot going on with all of these jockeying right now. How about left-handed pitcher Patrick Sandoval joins the Red Sox also on a 2-year deal, and he made 16 starts last season with the Angels, and of course a season that ended in June after he went Tommy John surgery route. So maybe he'll be back, maybe he won't. He probably will. Max Kepler left the Twins to go to the Phillies after 10 seasons. Time for a change of scenery. And here's an interesting one. Right-handed pitcher Mike Soroka reportedly signed with the Nationals. He's a 27-year-old. He was 0-10 last season with the White Sox with a lofty 4.74 ERA and a whip of 138 in 25 appearances. Listen, folks, the ERA, the whip are things that a pitcher can control. Now, the defense behind him, not necessarily, but of course those would be unearned runs. So the earned run average is legit. I'm not sure why the Nats would take such a risk. I think that's kind of silly in my opinion. But then again, who the hell knows? I mean, with the Mets picking up another starting pitcher, let's face it, the Mets are looking better and better despite being singled out as the island of misfit toys in their pitching rotation. Frankie Montas did join them. And look, the Mets are getting better and better. I guess that Sean Manaea probably will sign there as well. We'll see what the family member happens to do from there. Back here in a few minutes on the circus, going to shift into football. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, again, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, the recorded shows, which can be found on all platforms for your favorite podcasts and so forth. Yet, we don't do a podcast. We do a regular TV and radio show, and we do happen to stream it. So you can find it on those mediums: Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, etc. Also, when you're at thesportscircus.com, make sure you go to the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. One of those that's been with us for quite some time and very close friends of ours is Al's Number One Italian Beef. Check them out at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef, the creator of the Italian beef sandwich. Started business back in 1938, and they're still doing it. Folks, I got to tell you, this is really good stuff. If you don't know what Italian beef is, you better check it out. You probably have heard of a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Well, it is essentially the godfather of that type of a sandwich, like a French dip, but that in, I won't say on steroids because we covered steroids earlier, but I have to tell you, it is one of the best sandwiches you'll ever have. And if you can't make it over there to 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago, check them out at alsbeef.com. You can read all about Al's Beef, the product. You could also read about the history. That's alsbeef.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. Pick your favorite network affiliate in your favorite location in select markets. How about this? Speaking about that whole college football thing, the college football playoff, the transfer portal, and all this other crap. This is according to Buckeyes Wire. Ohio State wide receiver transfer makes a shocking commitment to a Big Ten foe. All right. Maybe it'll lead to a mass exodus. Never know. So the Ohio State Buckeyes have had a wealth of talent at their wide receiver position, and unfortunately, probably for him, fortunately, one could make the argument that they've had too much talent at times, making it difficult to get snaps to all the highly touted prospects. That's why some, like Jaden Ballard, ended up transferring, likely finding it easier to shine elsewhere. That said, Ballard has officially committed, and he's headed up north to Wisconsin. All right. In fact, we're going to play the super applause for that. And we're doing that because it's nice to see a little bit of parity. Now, the Badgers are getting a potential star in the making with a single year left in his college career. Now, I wonder if that also works for maybe the graduate transfer side, too. Maybe he could be a sixth year. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, Ballard has spent the last 4 years with the Buckeyes, playing in 35 games, yet ending with just 11 receptions for 63 yards. He did some kick returning as well in the past season. With players like Jeremiah Smith coming in and usurping him up the depth chart, along with the multiple five-star talents in Columbus, Ballard's exodus is clearly a move that's best for his career. And Ballard was a standout recruit way back in 2021, ending as the fourth best receiving prospect, only behind Troy Franklin of Oregon, Ja'Cory Brooks of Alabama, and Emeka Egbuka of Ohio State. And that said, at Wisconsin, Ballard could be the top option for Luke Fickell and his squad. And what I find interesting about this is that a lot of players are making moves because they're seeing it's not their college clock, so to say, it's the visibility clock that's ticking on them. So in this particular case, you have to ask yourself, well, is Ballard making the right move? I would say as a football discussion, yes, he's making a better move for himself because, yeah, he's not only is he's going to get some reps, but more importantly, he's going to get some looks. Because sitting on the bench over in Columbus doesn't get him anything. No. Honestly, I have to say this, folks, the academics in Columbus are not very good unless it's an agricultural situation because Ohio State actually ranks second in the nation in agriculture. That's the only thing I know that they're really good at, and they rank, ironically, behind a school you'd never guess that would be number one in the nation in agriculture, and that is the University of Florida. How do you like that? Nobody I know would have guessed that one. But I guess my point is he's probably doing it because he needs to get some looks, but he's going to get a better education. Actually, he'll be better off with a degree from the University of Wisconsin rather than one in Columbus, as I see it. Why do I say that? Now, look, I've been a recruiter for about 25 years now, and I look at the corporate ladder, look at the heads of the global corporate world. You don't see a lot of people that are grads from Columbus over there at Ohio State. You don't see them running big corporations. You typically see them in low to mid-level management positions. You just don't really see them at the tops of organizations. And that's a known fact. Go ahead and look for yourself. I'm not just beating up on the boys from Columbus. I'm just saying, generally speaking, look, when I was a kid, I rooted for those guys, but then I learned. My point is, I don't believe that Ohio State really educates their people to the rigor that they spend for their athletics. And this is why whenever I say their name, I say it in a undertone kind of a way because it's disappointing. Michigan has dropped off a little bit academically. Notre Dame has certainly dropped off academically a little bit with the focus on athletics. And at one time, a degree from the University of Notre Dame was a great, great thing. At Michigan, it still is a very good thing. I would still argue it's a good thing at Notre Dame. But at Ohio State, you don't get the same level of academics. And so outside of the athletic world, what are they doing to prepare their people, their graduates, to do big things? And again, when you look up and down the leaders of the global corporate marketplace, for example, and the biggest, most influential positions, you don't see a lot of their grads there. That's a matter of fact, folks. I could do this one literally all day. So is Jaden Ballard doing a good thing for himself? Yeah, I really think he is doing a good thing. And even if he doesn't play football at the next level, at least he'll, in my opinion, be better equipped with, in my opinion, a better university degree. I don't care if it's in the same field. But the fact is, the issuing institution is better in Madison, Wisconsin, than it is in Columbus, Ohio. And quite honestly, the state of Ohio does have a few options academically that are good. And of course, one of them that nobody really talks about is a little school called Oberlin College. Now, one of my friends has gone there, and Oberlin College, if you don't know what it is, you better check it out, folks. It's one of the better, smaller schools in America. And it happens to be in the state of Ohio. And also, if you're a sports person, if you like to study sports, you want to be a sports executive, and you want to do something, maybe you're not a player, but you want to be involved in sports on the business side of things, there is no better university in America than Ohio University when it comes to sports management. How do you like that? So that's something that a lot of people don't know. So I don't have everything bad to say about Ohio. I like the state of Ohio. It just happens that I don't like what goes on over in Columbus. Okay, moving on. Speaking of their archenemy, Jim Harbaugh has moved on, of course, to the LA Chargers. Of course, I want to call them the San Diego Superchargers. Still the best hat in the business. How about Jim Harbaugh being a very smart cookie? According to USA Today, the Chargers took advantage of a fair catch kick. And actually, it is, according to Jim Harbaugh, my favorite rule in football. Anyway, Jim Harbaugh received an early Christmas present in their game against the Denver Broncos. In fact, Harbaugh got an opportunity to utilize what he calls his favorite rule in football, the fair catch kick. Now, according to NFL rules, if a player makes a fair catch, his team may attempt an unchallenged kick from the spot rather than begin its next possession. If the kick goes through the goalpost, it's worth 3 points, just like a field goal. How do you like them apples? As a matter of fact, Harbaugh's Chargers got a chance to take advantage of that rule when the Broncos were penalized for fair catch interference with under 10 seconds remaining in the first half. 15-yard penalty gave LA the football on the Denver 47-yard line. And of course, after the two teams exchanged timeouts, the Chargers trotted out their kicker, Cameron Dicker, for a 57-yard fair catch kick. Let's see if we have the audio for that. See if we can find that. This is really good stuff. I remember watching this. I'm going to try to pull this up here, folks. Listen, it's live. Anything can happen. We're waiting for X to talk to us as far as the social media platform, because that's where we're pulling the audio feed from. So we want to make sure that we give them plenty of attention. Let's see if we got it. Here it goes.
Here's them solving Charger kicking woes for several years prior to that. Can he bang it through? On its way, it is. Yep.
Made history tonight.
Yes. There you go.
That's a great thing. And so, yeah, the kick actually went through, and it gave the Chargers a little bit of life. And, of course, they came back and scored 3 unanswered touchdowns. But the kicker said, quote, "It was awesome. It was fun to go out there. It was funny to be in that scenario and just be like, there's no line out there. This looks a little weird, but it was really cool to be out there and to be able to execute." And, of course, that was the first fair catch kick attempt of the, let's see, 2019 is the last time they did it. Last time I guess one was good was 1976 or something like that. And Jim Harbaugh says, quote, "It's my favorite rule in football, and I've just been trying to get one of those like every game," close quote. So Harbaugh did admit that he was keenly aware of the seldom used NFL rule, and he actually tried one when he was the head coach of the 49ers in 2013. But kicker Phil Dawson missed the 71-yard kick against the St. Louis Rams. And, of course, it's a different story this time when Jim Harbaugh said, quote, "There was Cam Dicker. He stepped up and nailed it, and I thought that was huge. Good momentum," close quote. Momentum it was. Of course, the kick cut the Chargers' deficit to 21-13, and, of course, they proceeded to rally in the second half, according to USA Today here, by outscoring the Broncos 21-6, which was highlighted by 3 touchdown drives engineered by Justin Herbert and a defense that held Denver's offense to 2 for 8 on third downs. Pretty exciting stuff, folks. If you don't like that stuff, it's kind of like the substitute for a Hail Mary pass, which actually this worked a hell of a lot better. That's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, and we'll see you in about 23 hours on your favorite station right here. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA. the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.